Hello, 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 dear friends. My name is Tessa Fife, and on this video, I'm very excited to share with you day 6 of 7 in a series I've been doing on this amazing book, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Dr. Deepak Chopra. And I decided that I was going to read this book. And I also decided that as I read each chapter, as one chapter per spiritual law, I would do a video and share it with you. So we're nearly at the end of this journey now. So chapter 6, which is the 6th spiritual law of success, is called the Law of Detachment. The Law of Detachment. And I had heard about this before. I didn't know it was a spiritual law. And having read this little chapter that packs a punch, I actually realised I didn't really know very much about it at all. So thank you, Deepak Chopra. Okay, so the Law of Detachment. So let's dive in. He starts off by saying that, and this is kind of weird, I had to read it a few times to let it sink in, but he says that in detachment lies the wisdom of uncertainty, yeah? And in the wisdom, it's weird, right? He uses the word wisdom when he describes uncertainty, but you've got to bear with him. So in detachment, there is wisdom of uncertainty. In wisdom of uncertainty lies freedom. Freedom from our past, freedom from the known, what we know, and the known is actually what he calls the prison of past conditioning, the prison of past conditioning. So as we are willing to step out into the unknown and embrace that uncertainty, and we step into the field of all possibilities, we then surrender ourselves to what he calls the creative mind of the universe. It's pretty cool. It's quite a short chapter, but it just dives straight in. And it basically says that when you practice the law of detachment, it doesn't mean that you are, letting go of all of the things that you intend and that you desire. It just means that you're letting go of the outcome. You're letting go, you're giving up your attachment to the result of it, yeah? And he says it's really, really powerful to do that. And the moment you relinquish your attachment to the result and you just have your intention is on the thing you're trying to create, but then you let go of having an attachment, a grasping to the result, then he says, you're letting in amazing, amazing possibilities into your life. So this I thought was interesting. He says attachment comes from poverty consciousness. Now I had heard this phrase poverty consciousness before, but I didn't link it to detachment. So he says when you are attached to the outcome of something, it's poverty consciousness. But when you are detached, it's synonymous with wealth consciousness, yeah? So attachment to the outcome is poverty mindset. Detachment to the outcome is wealth mindset, wealth consciousness. Hello, my dear sister Marie. Oh, bless you. More grace. Thank you so much for joining. And then he says, only from detached involvement can you have joy and laughter, right? Very, very interesting. So he says that true wealth consciousness is the ability to have anything you want, anytime you want, and with the least effort. Yeah? And so when you're grounded in that experience of wealth consciousness, that actually you are grounded in what he calls, again, the wisdom of uncertainty. Now, I have to say, with my background, I have a very traditional background. I was a lawyer for 12 years. I was educated in a certain way, very traditional way, looking for security, that security is a good thing, So when I read this at first, it sort of grated with everything that I understood. But then as I took it in, I could see the power in it. And he says, people are constantly seeking security, yeah? And he says that actually security is a very, it's not a real thing. It doesn't actually exist. So people often say, and these are his words, when I have, $5 million, then I'll be secure, I'll be happy. Or, then I'll be able to retire and it'll be great, I'll be really happy. Then I'll do all the things that I want to do. But he says it never happens. It never happens. And so he says, don't chase security, because the search for security is just an illusion. It's not real. Okay? I know, it's radical. The search for security is not real. He then goes into a long discussion of comparing insecurity and uncertainty with freedom. And basically he says, when we are attached to something, we are attached to something known, something that we know. So it's something we are comfortable with, and most of the time that means we are attached to our past. And he said the problem with being attached to your known past is that this then becomes a prison for you. It becomes a prison of your past conditioning. We all have this conditioning we've had from infancy, from our life experiences as we've been children growing up. And he says that, most people want to hold on to that because it's comfortable. You know it. You feel secure. But he says that is your prison. It's your prison of past consciousness. And so past conditioning. And you shouldn't be attached to that. You should welcome uncertainty, because in that uncertainty, there is freedom. So it's kind of different to what most of us believe, right? So this is what he says now. He says very strong words. He says, when you are attached to your past conditioning and you are in this prison of past conditioning, basically you are stagnant and you are decaying, yeah? And you just cannot evolve. There's no evolution whatsoever, because you are fixed in the past. You're fixed in the known, right? But he says when you embrace uncertainty, it's a fertile ground for pure creativity, for freedom. And it does mean that we are stepping into the unknown in every moment of our existence, he says. However, the unknown is always fresh. The unknown is the field of all possibilities, always fresh, always new, always open to the creation of new manifestations. So basically, this is where we need to be, yeah? If we didn't have this uncertainty or the unknown, then in Deepak Chopra's words, he says life is just the stale repetition of outworn memories. Ooh, talk about mic drop. The stale repetition of outworn memories. And you become the victim of your past. And you're just there always. How do we grow? We can't grow that way. It's interesting, isn't it? So this is a short chapter, so I don't have much more to say, but It's very powerful. So he says, just let go of your attachment to the known and step into the unknown. Step into the field of all possibilities, because then every moment of your life will have excitement, adventure, mystery. And he says you will experience the fun of your life, the magic, the celebration, the exaltation of your own spirit. I love his language in this book. Oh my goodness. My head's feeling quite hot. Brilliant. So good. So basically every day we should be looking for possibilities to step into the unknown, to step into what he calls the wisdom of uncertainty. That's where we grow. That's where the infinite field of possibilities exist. That is where we can embrace the adventure of our lives. Yeah. Okay, and then moving on to his next point, and he says, you know, when we step into this uncertainty, it's kind of like we are cooperating with the universe, because the universe is creating all of these little steps or opportunities or events that are going to take us to where we need to be. And so when we embrace the uncertainty and the unknown, it means that we can be fluid, we can be flexible. So, you know, when different events are happening, might not happen the way we want it to happen, but it's all good because we're being flexible, we're being open. We don't have this fixed idea of a specific result. We let it go. We've put out our intention and we still have that intention, but we're not attached to the result. Yeah? It's very powerful, but it's also very exciting because we can all do this. Once you get your head into it, we can all do this. And as if he knew I was reading this, he then said, when it comes to goal setting, the law of detachment doesn't interfere with your intent, the law of intention and desire in terms of goal setting. So you still have your intention of going in a certain direction. So you have your goal, you know where you're headed, you know what you want. The only thing is, you don't know between, you know, point A where you are and point B to where you want to get to. There are many infinite possibilities of how you get from point A to point B. And then when you embrace that uncertainty, he says, you know, you might change direction in any moment if you find an even higher goal than the one you set, or if you find something even more exciting than what the goal that you set for yourself. But the thing is, if you're embracing that uncertainty, you're also less likely to force a solution on a problem, because you're not attached to that specific outcome. Yeah, he says sometimes we force solutions on problems. I think that's quite interesting. He doesn't go into more detail, but he says just stay alert to opportunities, which is lovely. So we're getting to the part where he gives us 3 tips on how we can bring in the law of detachment into our lives. But just before we get to that bit, he then uses language which I'm a bit more familiar with. He talks about waiting expectantly. Yeah? Where else have you heard that phrase? Wait expectantly. I'm familiar with that language. He says, when you put your attention on the uncertainty and you witness the uncertainty while you wait expectantly for the solution to arise from the chaos and the confusion, then what emerges is something fabulous. It's so exciting, even more exciting than you could have ever imagined, yeah? So being alert, allowing ourselves to embrace the uncertainty, not feel the need to have, security, because he says really that is just a myth. It doesn't really exist. And uncertainty is not something we should be running away from. We can lean into it because it's full of opportunity. And the last thing he says before he gives us those tips is that, there is opportunity everywhere. And when you are alert and you are in the present moment and you are embracing uncertainty, that, it allows you to seize the opportunity. And what is the opportunity? He says that basically there is an opportunity contained within every single problem in your life, in my life. In every single problem, there is an opportunity. Isn't that huge? There is a seed of opportunity in every single problem that we have, and that we can use it for some greater benefit. And he says, once you have that mind, once you have that perception, it just opens you up to so much goodness and a whole range of possibilities. It's fantastic. So he says, you can look at every problem you have in your life as an opportunity for some greater benefit. Look at every problem you have in your life as an opportunity for some greater benefit. Oh, that's just huge. Okay. So we've got to the end, and then he gives us 3 ways that we can bring this law of detachment into our lives, yeah? So the first, he says, you have to just commit yourself to detachment. Allow yourself and those around you the freedom to be who they are. Hello, Tom. I'll give you a wave. And don't rigidly impose your idea of how things should be. Yeah, you're not forcing solutions on problems, and you are going to participate in everything with a detached involvement. So a detachment to the result. Tom, we're talking about this book. I'm just coming to the end now. Number 2, he says, think about uncertainty as an essential ingredient of your life experience, yeah? And embrace it. When you are willing to accept uncertainty, solutions will just appear out of the chaos of the problem. So you're not fearful of being in a state of uncertainty. Embrace it, and solutions will just start to appear out of the chaos, out of the confusion. And just understand, uncertainty is the path to your freedom. Uncertainty is the path to my freedom. And, the whole thing about security, actually, through your uncertainty is where you're going to find your security. So it kind of spins on the head everything that most of us have been taught, about seeking security, being secure. And then the third way he says that you can bring the law of detachment into your life is, he says, step into the field of all possibilities and anticipate the excitement that can occur when you remain open to an infinity of choices. So in other words, step into the uncertainty with confidence and, start to think about how amazing it's going to be, all the different things that could possibly happen. Anticipate that with excitement, and that will help you to just embrace all of the adventure of life, all of the fun. He calls it the magic and the mystery of life. very interesting. Ooh, it really sets the cat amongst the pigeons. So that is chapter 6 in this lovely little dinky book. You can see I'm at the end now. But don't let the size fool you. It is powerful. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Dr. Deepak Chopra. And boy, oh boy, I'm really enjoying this. I'm not an expert. I just decided to read the book and I thought I would share a video with each chapter, each of the 7 laws. So if you've had value from this, then just drop me a comment down below. Let me know what's your biggest takeaway. And if you want to hear about the 7th spiritual law, I will be reading that tomorrow. Which is the last one. It's the last chapter. And this is called the Law of Dharma, or the Law of Purpose in Life. I'm looking forward to reading that. So there we are. Very, very interesting. I'm done. Thank you, Marie, for joining me live. Thank you, Tom. Lots of love. My name is Tessa Fife. I'm sending you my light and my love, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.